I'm picking the Vikings and I
You got it. All right.
How's it going, Vikings fans? Welcome back into another edition of the Wednesday night Skol Experience with Minnesota Sports Talk and GG Sports Podcast. We are once again joined by Tanishka. How is it going tonight? And what are your feelings? Okay, how's it going tonight first? And then we'll talk about the draft after.
Tonight's good.
Good. Good. That's
She's
good.
like, let's get on to the draft now.
Exactly.
think I think you are our most recurring guest now.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think it's
Yeah.
official.
I would
Think-
have
Yeah,
to
I
be,
think
yeah,
so. Yeah.
say so.
Let's go.
So,
Let's go.
Love that.
overall, what were your feelings on the Minnesota Vikings 2023 draft?
I mean, they did a lot with the little that they had.
Mhm.
Like, I'm counting the undrafted players too with this, just like all the rookies. But
Right.
I like the Addison pick. I was a little scared they were going to go corner there, and I didn't really want to deal with another corner in the first. Just because I always just thought receiver was a bigger need, and because they have guys at corner, you just got to see if they can play or not at this point. So, I was happy with Addison. I think other than him, like I think the player that I'm most excited for is probably Jay Ward. I didn't know a lot about him before the draft, but just like everything that I've seen about him, like after we picked him, like just his like versatility and being able to play like all these positions, like with Flores's scheme, I feel like we could do a lot with him. And he might just end up being our starting nickel. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know, some point this season. So that also feels a pretty immediate need. But I also like I thought they were gonna address linebacker and they like never did until undrafted free agency, which is like fine because Pace has the potential to be a really good player.
Right.
But,
I'm on the ball
I
tonight.
was
Yeah, you are.
a little shocked that they didn't even look that way. But and then I guess like Jaron Hall too, like I was happy they like took a developmental QB because like why not? And I've heard good
Right.
things about him. So that could be a fun little project for them. If he ends up being the backup by like year 2 or 3, that would be a win.
Right.
But overall I'm excited. Like I mean they had like what 5 picks, so
Ended up with 6. They started
okay.
with 5. Yeah.
Oh right, the trade down.
And I think we got one for next year.
Yep.
yeah,
Got a fifth rounder out of it for
Yep.
next year.
Yep. Which is
Yeah.
nice because we need
Yeah,
as
that's
much
really nice.
capital as we
Because
can
we only had
get.
6
Right.
next year. Now we have 7.
Because I think we had 7, and then we traded 1 to move up to get Hall, right? I believe that's how that went down.
For Roy. Or
Was it Roy?
Yeah,
I thought it was Hall.
yeah, we
Oh,
traded
okay.
up for Roy. Yep.
Okay.
So we gave
Which
him
I've said
6.
before. I think he's my sleeper pick for this one. I think he could be a guy that we're talking about, maybe even this year, but a couple years down the road, I think they'll be talking about. Remember when they got him in the 5th round? He strikes me as that type. Maybe it's the fact that he's an LSU defensive lineman that has a particularly female spelled name pronounced in a male way. Who knows? But
Yeah.
we'll see.
We got an
funny.
official pronunciation now. It's Jaquelin.
Jaquelin.
Jaquelin
Yep.
Roy.
Jaquelin. I got 2
Let's
sources on
go.
this, and one of them is the Vikings coach who announced his name.
Okay.
So there we
You
go.
know it's legit.
So let
I
me
think,
do some.
I think it was his position coach, but I didn't recognize him.
Let me do some shout outs real quick. Purple and Gopher Days. Justin, what's going on? Hashtag Skol. Speaking of that, today I'm going to give away a Randy Moss numbered card to $9.99. It is a little bit high on the number, but it is still a Randy Moss numbered card. Hashtag Skol in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe to the channels. Go check out Tanishka on Twitter. Everything's in the description below. Kofi, what's going on, Kofi? Mary, welcome back. Mary Raymond, how's it going? Who else we got that's new? Hey, let's go, Rap. What's going on? He needs that. Let's go. It might be yours. This one might be yours. So let's just go around each of us. We'll start with Tanishka again, but what's just your final grade for this draft as a whole, including undrafted? You can give like maybe what your thoughts were prior to undrafted free agents, because I would have probably picked a different grade because I felt like we did that well and as picking up undrafted free agents. What's your grade overall for just this past weekend?
I feel like grades are just hard because we haven't seen them actually do anything for the Vikings. But I would say before undrafted free agents, probably like a B. But I feel like just taking into context with like what they were going into the draft with and what they came out with, basically with both Pace and Carter, they were like really high up on almost everyone's like consensus big boards, and getting them for 0 draft picks is really exciting. I know like for Carter, a lot of people were just talking about how he felt because they train differently in the Army versus like if you're going to get drafted. So that's why his like RAS was like super low. But I think I would say I like an A minus maybe, but it's really just hard to put a letter on it. Like I don't want to just box into a letter right now without seeing them do anything for the Vikings yet.
Right, which is definitely fair.
Yeah,
But
definitely fair.
I'm happy with it overall.
We're gonna edit it out and make sure you say Vikings A minus and just leave it at that.
Right now. In 5 years in the future, it's an A minus. But no, I would have to say I'm the same. You said exactly. I said repeated the same thing before, but I would have said B, and then probably went up to a B plus or an A minus. B minus or B. I don't know. I really like those picks, especially since we only had, what did we end up with? Did we end up with 7 picks or 6 picks? We ended up with 6 picks.
Yep.
So we ended up with 6 picks, and we were able to get 2 guys that should have been chosen anyway. So it's almost like we at least 2 guys. So it's almost like we had extra picks anyways. So
yeah. Dave, what
you guys?
What was your grades?
I was definitely a B. I was probably a little higher to start the draft.
I love that
after the first pick. After the first, but I feel B because I think we got good players behind them that are gonna fill spots. I don't think they're just bodies. I think they got a chance to play a lot. I like the 7th round pick because he probably should have went a lot higher. And if we get rid of Cook, it makes sense. And we now, who knows? I think he might be a good complement to that room because he is a short yardage guy, and I think we had problems with that. Although once we put Alexander Madison in that spot later in the season, getting the short yardage and we had a lot more success. But yeah, Addison, I felt like he's the only difference maker. Like out of the gate, I think he's day 1 starter. I think he's gonna be a problem for NFL cornerbacks. He's gonna be a great compliment. The dude's gonna be one-on-one a lot, I think. So yeah. Any great route runner. I think he's a difference maker. The rest of the crew got a shot to play. Ward's supposedly a stud special teamer. A lot of good guys that are going to fill needs for us. I think all of these guys make the team. And there's a guy that I really like that was a free agent, and no one's mentioned him yet, but Malik Knowles. I think this guy could push Kenny Nwango for the return job. I think Kenny took a step back this last year in the return job, kick return job. I wish this guy returned punts though, but he catches with his hands. They have him run the ball on jet sweeps. He's dangerous in open space. I just don't know enough about his route running to say, hey, we got a winner here or a sure fire guy, but I think he'll push the guy we traded for last year from the Eagles,
Rager.
I think he can push Rager out of that spot. Then we would need a punt return, but we got that other guy that we just got in the off season and free agency. So he's right in that mix, and I think he's all three of these guys that I have here. I think all 3 of these guys at minimum make the practice squad, and minimum. I do like that. I would if we're gonna count the UDFAs, I'll raise it to a B plus.
Okay.
All right. What do you think, Casey?
And I agree. I think it is tough to grade a draft now. I mean, obviously, I think you kind of basically the grades now are on fit for need, where players were taken based off consensus. and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
kind of like how they're going to fit and if they're going to get a lot of playing time. Which, if you look down the line, they're all going. I think they're all going to have a shot to get playing time for sure. Like Addison, of course. I think Addison's got a great chance to. Like what, Jamie? I know we were talking about it on Monday. We did some stat predictions where I said I could see him having like a year he had in his last year of college with 800 yards, maybe 6-7 touchdowns, just because Jefferson's going to get all the attention because Jefferson's Jefferson, and he's going to have a shot. And like I said, I think if you look back to 4th and 8, I think if Addison's on this team, I think we convert that because that's the thing with KJ is KJ, and I know Tanishka, you've mentioned this before too on here, that he just doesn't seem to be able to get open very often. Where I feel like Addison is such a good route runner in that situation. He's going to find a way to cut that route and get himself open past the sticks and get the catch. And
Jefferson probably wouldn't have been triple teamed on that play. I guess
that as well too.
Yeah, probably.
But then you're probably looking at then even the play before when KJ just couldn't get open to catch the ball that Kirk threw to him. It's like Addison probably gets open to catch that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Blackman. I think Blackman's going to have a shot. Obviously, I mean that the cornerback room is young and unproven, so he's going to have a shot to prove himself there. Ward, as Dave mentioned, special teamer. Plus, he's got versatility as safety. He can play nickel corner, so he's gonna have opportunity to do all that. Like I said, Roy. I mean, that defensive line is weak. Like there's not a lot there. So and he's a decent pass rusher, decent enough. Get him under the tutelage of Flores, and I think he could really coach him up. Jaron Hall probably won't get a lot of playing time. Let's be honest about that. But like Jamie said on Monday, it'd be fun to at least get a chance to watch a young quarterback in the preseason and have some thoughts. And then Dwayne McBride is kind of a wild card. I guess we'll see. And I know David mentioned Kene. I've kind of soured on him over the last couple. I just don't. I know we haven't seen him play much at running back, but I just don't see him contributing much as a running back. When he's out there, you just kind of look at him like, he's just not. He just doesn't do it for me.
Not with the other guys on the team. Like
exactly.
Chandler was an all-around back in college.
Right.
Yeah.
We've seen Madison have 100 yards, right?
And
I mean, if you can get another wide receiver in Knowles, if he proves it enough as a returner to where, and that's the thing, if you're going to keep McBride, you're telling me you're going to have CJ Ham, Alexander Madison, Dwayne McBride, and Ty Chandler all on the same team. And McBride, I think he had enough talent where if you try to sneak him on the practice squad, I think a team will pick him up. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some flashes out of him early. Like, I don't think he makes it to the practice squad for sure. Just because I think he has a real chance to be the best pure runner on our team with Cook gone. Assuming Cook is gone, like even more than Madison. Like, I think he's more. Who knows? I mean, Madison's obviously, he's been in the league for a while, but obviously, like he has a fantastic running ability, but nothing in the past, pretty much. At least, I mean, I think there's some coaches and stuff or some people who say he just never had the opportunity to catch passes. If he comes in and he can catch, that would be massive because he'd probably go up 3 rounds higher at least if that was the case. Because I'm assuming that's the reason why he dropped, because people don't really like that kind of running backs anymore. But he is fantastic in that area, and I think there's a possibility he could definitely be the best pure runner at least some point in the future. So I like that pick later. It was kind of like one of those things where I'm like, I don't think we really needed that or even cared. We just felt like he dropped so far for the value. We were just like, all right, we got to go get this guy.
Absolutely.
I think like a couple of people, like Kuiper had him in his top 100, players. And then I think he was ranked like 140 on like either like ESPN or NFL.com.
Well,
for me, like if
17 touchdowns or something.
Yeah,
he had the second high.
And like 1,700 yards rushing.
Yeah, like second highest.
2 catches.
Yeah, 2 catches.
3 career catches.
And average 7 yards a carry. Like that's insane.
Oh yeah, and then they was like one of the top guys. Yards after contact. But if Mekhi Blackman and Jaquelin Roy end up starters, this is an AL away because I believe Addison's a no-brainer. I think he's obviously gonna start because he is such a better route runner than KJ Osborne.
Mm-hmm.
KJ Osborne's rough, man, on those on some. I was complaining mid-season to that playoff game, and the last play of the game he rounded off his route, let the guy get underneath him, wasn't open. He could have been, Kirk still could have tried to give it to him, that kind of thing, but that didn't happen. But he wasn't, he rounds off his routes. He rounded off the one that the play before too, where Cousins threw it a little behind him. He rounded that route off too. So yeah, KJ Osborne is good enough, but put him in the 3 spot. Addison's the starter.
I would
I
still.
give us an A if those other 2 guys start this year.
I mean, I would still end up calling KJ Osborne quality at the very least, but I know.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna
people
go
out there. Some people out there would
Some
not
yeah.
say that, but
definitely quality. I
Yeah.
think he's a rock solid number 3.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I've heard a lot of people
serviceable number 2.
I've heard some people even who have jobs at the Pioneer Press mention it too, but maybe there's a reason they're in that spot and other people aren't. Anyway, we'll move on.
What's going on, Jim? I remember Tanishka was on and they did a great mock, lots of moves and a high grade. I remember
we kicked ass that day.
Yeah,
We did a lot of moves.
We had
drafted
someone
better.
disagree right at the start here. I don't know.
Yeah,
if you
I know.
guys
I
saw
skipped
Kofi
Kofi.
earlier,
I skipped Kofi. Sorry, Kofi, but I have a feeling I don't remember who we exactly did.
We got
3 different ones. What's going on, JD?
3 awesome drafts.
Skol brother. I'm excited for Andre Carter and Ivan Pace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Remember, hey, we
They're
drafted Hendon Hooker and
Was that from
as
that
our
same
quarterback,
one?
Flowers, Zay Flowers, and
Yep.
that was our first draft.
Oh, that was our first
everybody's
draft.
like, you're drafting a quarterback and a receiver, and our defense was this bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
funny. I think
That's what we did.
in the one that we really liked, I believe we picked Brian Branch in the first round.
Yeah.
So
And he-
Or
And then
was
he-
it Deontay Banks?
I thought it was
Was it
Branch.
Deontay
I think
Banks?
we
I
traded
don't know.
back like 4 picks.
Oh yeah,
and then we ended
Yeah.
up going with Branch, who
Yeah.
obviously
Right.
didn't
No, but I
get
mean,
picked.
obviously,
the
we
Lions picked Branch
Right.
and Hooker.
Yeah.
They had a
So I was-
terrible. Their draft kind of sucked definitely at first. Like I don't know.
Well,
that,
I was gonna
crazy, but
I was gonna say we've talked about what we thought. Yeah, like we brought up Brian Branch. We talked about Hooker. So I mean, let's Tanishka. We want to get your thoughts on the rest of the division and their draft. Like, how do you think? How would you assess the other teams in the division and how they drafted this year?
I'm gonna start off by saying that I am so happy that the Lions and the Bears both passed on Jalen Carter.
Yes.
Oh god, yeah.
See, I
oh
don't
god,
I'm
we're sweating
looking
it.
forward to seeing him versus Garrett Bradbury twice a year.
yeah.
Oh, and then we were sweating on the Jigba too. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh, with
Yeah.
Packers,
Oh, with
yeah.
with the Packers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't really that impressed by anyone in the divisions draft. I would say like out of the 3 of them, I think like need wise, I think Chicago probably had the best draft.
Yeah.
But the Lions, they had so many picks. Like they had maybe 4 top 50 picks, something like that. It was,
Something
it was
like that.
crazy.
Yeah.
And that was so underwhelming. Like drafting a linebacker and a running back with your first 2 picks when they're like complete non-premium positions. And like with JMO suspended now for like 6 weeks, their receiver room is like not good because St. Brown's a slot, and then what you have Marvin Jones, and I don't even know who's starting on the outside on the other side. So
Yeah.
I really thought that they were gonna take JSN, and I was surprised that they didn't. And I mean with Gibbs, he's a good player, but you just signed Montgomery, and Montgomery's a good enough running back to get it done. He can also catch passes. So I just didn't understand that one. And I mean the Packers, they probably had the most boring draft. Like
A defensive
I'm
end,
not
two
scared about any of
2
that.
tight ends. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
overwhelming to say.
What is it? Jalen Reed? Is that the wide receivers? The
Yeah,
Packer
yeah,
picks
Michigan
again?
State.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The
Whatever.
second best
Okay.
Michigan State wide receiver to be drafted the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Jalen Naylor.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
No,
Jalen
man,
Naylor-
it was not good. It wasn't like terrible, but for how many picks they had, all of them, it did
I
seem
feel like they were picking all the time.
like every single
Yeah.
time because they were trading and stuff too. So you
Jesus,
just
like-
saw them popping up constantly. But for all the picks they had, it was pretty
Tigers had
underwhelming.
13 draft picks.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
That's
I
'cause
like
they didn't have any free agents. They haven't really done anything with free
And,
agency.
yeah.
'cause they-
Yeah.
right. The Packers. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
they're
That
I don't know.
roster doesn't really scare me at all, and Jordan Love is still such a huge question mark.
It's
that,
just
like,
gonna-
I
gonna
honestly
go
wouldn't be
on.
surprised if they ended last in the division this year. Like,
yeah, no, they are for
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
foreseeable future.
I
Yeah.
would
Next
love that.
10 years,
I would be
they're at the
fantastic.
bottom.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not hitting again. If they can't hit
There's
again.
no way 3 in a row. That's not happening.
Dude,
There's
that's
No.
No. I'm not.
it's not. We'll just act like it's not
Yeah.
happening until it does.
But Jamie,
Um,
I know you had mentioned Hendon Hooker, then mentioned Brian
That
Branch
was-
as well. I think
yeah,
those
they
are the
picked a
things that
couple
really
ones.
saved the Lions draft. And honestly,
At least from our
if you-
perspective, because we like those.
Right.
Well, and then they
Yeah.
traded the running back to make it make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
but I think I heard someone else say if you flip the picks around, it's a really good draft.
Yeah,
If they-
right.
If they took Brian Branch,
if you draft
to start,
Brian Branch number
and
one,
then the running back, and then Jack Campbell in the second round, you're looking at that like, damn, that's
That's
three
not bad.
really good.
and,
Yeah,
but
I know, that is
they
true.
drafted Branch with their 4th pick in the draft,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
crazy. If they
Yeah.
draft him at 12, then they go Gibbs, then Campbell, and
Right.
then Hendon Hooker. But Hendon Hooker got their 5th pick in the 3rd round.
Which
It's
So it's
crazy
really
that
weird.
they
I
could have
give
done so well.
I give the Lions some a little bit of credit here because I mean
It
they're
made a
wasn't
comeback in that
complete
draft.
disaster because they got good players,
Yeah.
but they just could have done so much better, and that's
Dude,
why people look
big
at it like
time.
it was a terrible
Right.
draft. Like
I
it
still feel like
wasn't.
the Vikings are the favorite to win the division at this point.
They
Like,
have to be. Especially
They
with the
should
whole
be.
Jameson
I mean, the
Williams
Lions
thing.
are gonna screw up somehow, but
Yeah.
honestly, the Lions with their offense, that receiver room is just not good. Like,
right.
I don't really trust Jared Goff to make something with Marvin Jones, and I mean, St. Brown is a really good player, but
Yeah.
like when your slot receiver is your only capable receiver for like
Right.
6 weeks.
Who's
And they don't have
the
Chark
was it
anymore.
is it what's the Iowa tight end's name that they drafted?
Sam Laporta.
Laporta.
Sam
Yeah.
Laporta.
So he'll probably have I'm sure he'll
I
have a big
mean,
role.
they traded Hawk to us, and then they ended up taking a tight end who probably won't be as good as Hawk. So that's
Yeah.
Right. But is Iowa like the freaking tight end factory or what? Like you think of
Yeah,
all the
they
tight
pretty
ends they
much
have in the
are.
league, it's
They
nuts.
had 3 Pro Bowl caliber tight ends on the same team.
Yeah. That's
Well,
crazy.
because I know like Kittle was obviously before them all,
But
right? And then there
Vegas
was
Lions are the
Hawkinson and
favorite.
then
Go place your bets. Go place your
Hawkinson and then
bets
Noah
because
Fant.
Jim, go bet on 'em.
I
bet
think
on 'em.
there's no way, man. I mean, from just a talent point,
The Lions have all
we
the
are
hype,
by
that's the
far
thing.
the best.
the
Especially if
Lions
you
defense, I will say, there's
has
something there.
improved. Yeah,
it could have
yeah.
been- it
They
could
could
have
have
been
been
much better if
really.
they
could've
That's the
been
thing.
Crazy.
I
Jesus,
do
so
like.
they took
What's his name? What's Iowa's linebacker that got Jack
Campbell.
Jack Campbell. I want to say O'Connor for some reason. Jack Campbell. He is a stud, but is he going to be that huge difference? He's going to be someone that's going to be reliable for years to come type of guy, get a lot of tackles, that type of thing. But you missed out. Didn't grab Jalen Carter, and you skipped out on the secondary that
They
early.
could
Brian
have got
Branch is
Carter
gonna be a
and
stud. I'll give
Jack
him that.
Campbell, right? They could get Carter
They could've
and
got
Yeah,
Campbell.
Yeah.
that would have been if they would have got Carter, dude. They should their grade should go
Carter and
grade
Hutchinson, that would have
below
been
just
a
'cause of that.
crazy D line.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
And
surprised they didn't
Houston
do
in there
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
these were
right.
good too.
So I don't know. I still
With Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, and then Brian Branch back there was like
I do
And
like
they
the
got
Brian Branch.
Manuel Mosley and Cam Sutton, who are both really good. And they have Gardner Johnson back there now.
Yeah, they do have him.
and they still have is it
All
Kirby
right, so
Joseph?
they're-
Is that the guy that picked off Aaron Rodgers
Yeah, three
Twice.
times.
3 times? Should have been, whatever.
Yeah, their defense will be
Their secondary is
pretty solid. Yeah. But I'm still taking our offense over any other. Like if you're going to take offense or defense for anyone in our division, I think our offense is by far the best out of, I don't know, what would that be called? Like I don't know, I can't think of the word for
I
it.
think our offense is top 3 potential this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Prolific?
Top 3.
Yeah.
Prolific, Jamie.
Prolific.
Or-
No, like
Prolific.
each side, like if you were going to take offense, defense from each team, like whose side of the ball is
More
the best in
dominant.
the division? Like one side. Like we have the best. Our offense is.
We
have
we
the
definitely
best
have the best
offense.
one side.
We have the best one. That's what
You know, people are
the best
underestimating
one
our
side. Our offense beats anyone's defense or anyone else's offense in our division.
people are
That's what I
underestimating
wanna
what
say.
people are underestimating what us getting a new D coordinator.
Right.
No one's gonna. I
Absolutely.
mean, no one's gonna have a book on us at all.
Mhm.
That's what I said last year, and they learned the book pretty quick in week 2. After the first week, they
Yeah.
had the book on us at week 2, but he's so much more less predictable, and the players we got. I mean, Davenport, adding him to it. I think our
Yes,
cornerback room is sneaky good.
Dylan.
I think it's above average. Our safety group, I think, is gonna be one of the better ones in the league. Linebacker, we're just shallow, but I don't think we're bad. Just hey,
It's going to
we'll see
be
what happens.
our defense is going to be a question mark.
Oh, and Willikis is back, so
He was
championship.
looking like a stud.
Yeah.
Dylan, just getting here. Are we stirring any pots tonight or just having a casual
Just
conversation?
casual conversation.
Well, I think the only pots, unless you're a Packer fan or a Bears fan or a Lions fan, I don't think there's going to be any pots stirred. If there is, then there's definitely going to be some pots stirred for sure.
PFF gave everybody but us B pluses and gave us a B minus.
Yeah, they got 1 million
That's
picks.
fine.
Like,
Yeah.
they each had 1 million picks. What do you expect? We had 6 freaking picks. So,
Right.
and with the amount of picks they had, it was pretty, like, I am happy. It could have been so bad for each of those teams, and they just didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
They had huge opportunities. The Lions made a comeback. I'll give them that, but the other picks still even about, because I really like Hendon Hooker for them. I was like,
Yeah,
damn.
I
Like,
agree.
you have this
And-
Jared Goff thing, and you don't know what they're gonna do with him in the future, and then you go get Hendon Hooker, who's
and we had inside information about that, like,
Oh
a
yeah,
month-
I know.
month or
Micro
so ago.
Mike.
Micro Mike, he was saying, watch out for the Lions taking Hendon Hooker. They like him.
Yeah,
That's
fair
because
enough.
he's only got one fully guaranteed year left, right?
It's interesting
Goff.
to me because they're talking about a Goff extension now. I don't know how legit that report is, but I keep seeing it from Lions pages. So I don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't either.
What screwed us was drafting Jalen Hall. Justin,
Jaren
why do you
Hall.
think that? I don't think, or Jared.
Jaren.
I keep Jaron
I
Hall.
mean, worst case scenario is you get a developmental
Dude,
guy. That,
I
you know,
I
I
think best
really
case
like-
scenario is he becomes your new Nick Mullins. Like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
thinking-
expect him to become a starter. Or
So here's the
anything.
here's the problem with drafting quarterback, right? Is now we have to. He's not going to make a practice squad. We're not going to be able to put him on a practice squad. He'll be taken.
Yeah.
So that leaves us,
Three
that
spots.
leaves us putting 3 quarterbacks on the roster.
Yeah.
Right.
So this may mean that, who knows? Maybe this does mean Mullins has a chance of getting cut, because there may
Maybe.
be some player that we like better, and then they're gonna bring a. Did we? I don't think we got another undrafted free agent, did we? To put
for
on the
quarterback.
team?
No.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think
So maybe that does keep Mullins on the team. That we
Maybe.
we go in with 3. I'm shocked we don't have a 4. Do we have a 4th though? Like from last year? We
I don't think
signed
so.
a guy like
We have
we-
Josh Rosen, but he's gone now.
Yeah.
So I don't think so.
yeah, that was
Josh Rosen is getting.
we
I
just
forgot
wanted to
about
add
that.
another team to his belt before
Yeah.
Karen
finally
Hall turns into a
retires.
Russell Wilson. See, that's what I'm like. Obviously, that's what we're hoping for, is him to
Denver.
turn into a Russell Wilson type. But
Yeah.
I think he's a mystery, though. I think there's a chance he could. Like, I
Vikings
know
have
people are saying,
tried.
people are talking about him through the offseason or before the draft, and even now, that if there is a player in this draft that turns out to be like a Brock Purdy, it would be him. Which is just blowing.
Lewis, I
That's
think
kind of
Lewis Riddick
blowing
said
smoke
that,
up
yeah.
our ass, kind of.
I-
But I mean,
I
at
win
least
the
there's a
night.
chance. And for me, it's he has the skill. He does the things that I want to see from a quarterback. So I said this to Rap before too. Like, if there's one thing for sure, it kind of gives us an idea the direction we're gonna head in the future, regardless, which is more mobility, and that's what's the real W was for me
Yeah.
in grabbing him.
Yeah, Mike, I agree. Other than the fact that they didn't take Will Levis in the first round, but hey, what do you do? Thoughts on if we
Will
try to
Levis,
trade
yeah.
for Patrick Queen? If they could pull that off,
How did
Really good.
Patrick Queen? How has he played so far? Because I haven't really paid attention
it
too much
must-
to his career so far. But
I mean, it must not
I
be
like-
great since they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Normally, that's kind of
Yeah.
a telltale sign.
right, because we thought that was a
not great because
steal.
that forced them to go out and get Roquan as well.
That is
Yeah,
also true. So
I would take
but I
the
mean,
chance.
yeah.
I would probably take. I mean, we could.
yeah, I would
we could
take a
take
chance
Will
for a
out.
day 3 pick all day.
yeah, and Quasi
Yeah.
likes those type of guys, like the
Yeah.
guys going into their second contract who probably aren't going to cost as much because they still kind of have to prove themselves. So could be an option. You never know.
What's going on, Skol Mafia?
Yeah, welcome in. Thanks for hopping in. But yeah, man. Overall, and I think if you look at the Bears, they're definitely selling. Like their thought is, we're gonna give Justin Fields every opportunity to prove himself this season. If he can't do it this season, you got him DJ Moore, who, let's be honest, is legitimate number 1
Yeah,
wide receiver to
absolutely.
go along with Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool, even though I've never been very high on him. Drafted him an offensive lineman. They got some pieces on defense. But
I think, yeah.
it's a prove it year for Justin
going on,
Fields,
Mateo?
especially with the quarterbacks coming out next year. Like, they need to know.
I like that for the Bears because that the thing that matters most for them is Fields, because even if they end up losing like 10 games this year and Fields looks good, then they're set, because let's be real, they're not winning a lot of games because that defense is still not very good. Like,
Mhm.
that defensive line might be the worst unit of like any unit in the sport. So I mean, for them though, it's like it's still a process, and I would think that the Darnell Wright pick was good because he is a really good right tackle. I love Darnell Mooney. Like I feel like he's always been like a high end number 2, but he's just never had the opportunity because of UP playing in Chicago. And paired with Moore, I feel like that offense is everything that Fields would need to be successful if he's ever gonna be good.
Right.
So, like, they're not a threat for the division this year or anything, but I mean, if Fields proves that he's legit, then they're definitely on the come up.
Who do they have at running back? I forget.
They have Khalil Herbert, who's
Okay,
pretty
that's
good.
who it
Did
was.
they
Yeah,
grab
they
any-
drafted a guy,
They drafted
Roshan
Roshan
Johnson
Johnson.
in the 4th round.
And they didn't grab
Texas.
anyone in free agency after letting Montgomery go? Why did I feel like they did grab? Maybe nothing too crazy, but I thought they might
Oh,
have
they
grabbed
took
someone.
that one Panthers running back from last year.
Oh, Deontay
Um,
Foreman?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay,
Foreman, yeah.
Solid.
That's a fine
Eh.
room. And Fields runs the ball at least 10 times
He's
a
like
game.
he's their running back, yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah, like they're set there.
Yeah, he's a better runner than I thought coming out of college.
He's a really good runner.
Yeah, I do think so. What do you guys think about Blackman then? Because obviously, so to me, that really, it's like the Caleb Evans of this draft. It seems like that was the player that, whether it's Kwesi and Flores or whatever, it's definitely a Flores type of player, but it just seemed like that was their guy. Like they trade, except for they traded back instead of up. But it, obviously, in a lot of people's opinion, it was they drafted him early, even though his stats and everything, like once you look at him, like how did I didn't even really know about that guy.
Right.
And I'm like, man, he's fantastic in coverage. When you watch his highlights and stuff, he has so many plays in coverage, honestly, probably more than any of the other cornerbacks that I've seen, like good coverage highlights. Obviously
he was in people's back pockets, but he was holding on to them.
That's the one thing.
That was the first thing that my friend noticed when we were like when they drafted him.
He was holding on to their pocket while it was in their pocket.
Yeah. So that is fair. So hopefully it was more than just him being too handsy.
I saw that he had 20 pass breakups last season, which is ridiculously good.
Yeah,
I think he's legit. I mean,
hopefully
when we picked him, I'm like, who the hell is he? And I go,
I wasn't happy. I was
go look,
not
and his 30th
happy.
ranked cornerback on ESPN, and then he's 41st on NFL.com. I had to go to the 3rd page to find him, and nobody in the 2nd page had been drafted yet, and only like 8 or 9 guys on the 1st page. So I was like, there's 20 a page, right? So I'm like, oh my God, he's 41st in 9 corners.
I keep seeing things about how he's going to be one of our best corners by like Halloween. I saw something from like Brett Coleman earlier today.
I think he's as good as any of the guys that we have. I think so. I think he's got a good chance. That's why I added the part if he's a starter that this is an A draft because he has every chance to start. I think
it was just hard for me to see Henley and Simpson get picked right before.
Oh God, that'd burn the soul. Simpson getting picked right before us.
And then we traded back, and then part of me still felt the same with Ika going between us or where we were at and where we picked Blackman at. So, which I thought he was the best defensive tackle at that point, in my opinion. Even though I do like, is Jaquelin Roy?
Yes.
I do Jaquelin Roy. I do like Jaquelin Roy.
So we got 2 Tanishkas. Oh, there we go. There's one.
There we go. She's here.
You're
She's
back.
Here. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Forgetting about it now. I don't know, but I forgot what it was.
Production value.
I don't know. Overall, though, I was excited about getting
Casey's
later.
frozen.
Getting Pace later because I think after like the 4th round, I mean, we were kind of calling for Pace. Rapp is a huge Pace guy, so we were kind of calling for him. So for him to go out and us, I was going to be really mad if we left this without a linebacker. So I was really happy that we ended up being able to do that still. But it did feel like a kind of a reach when we did get Blackman at the time, especially with the players that were available. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Oh, Casey's gone. That's what I want to say is
he's frozen.
He was frozen. I didn't know that.
He was frozen.
What's his name? Ojama, right?
Yeah.
So that was the player that we picked a bunch of times in our mock drafts. I know we really tried to push the trade for him in our mock draft, and it was crazy because he went all the way to the 7th round to the Eagles, of course. He went to the 7th round to the Eagles. And if there is one thing from this draft that is kind of disappointing, is I know we got Roy, but we didn't really grab a pass rushing interior lineman. And I felt like that was our biggest need in this entire draft. So we still don't have that, which is worrisome to me.
Sorry about that. I had technical issues on my end. My internet decided it wasn't going to work for a bit there. So what do you do?
I'd have to agree with you, Jamie. It's like our biggest absolute need was a interior pass rusher, even if it was the end. But I wanted a difference making nose tackle, right? And so passing on him, Mozzie Smith, not trading down and taking like a Mozzie Smith. Like our mock drafts where we traded down, this was even better than we could have ever imagined. If we would have did that. But get a Mozzie Smith, there's plenty of good receivers late. Like the Giants, I think, had a pretty sneaky good draft. Getting Hyatt and Hyatt and the center from Minnesota.
Right.
And we got Deontay Banks on the first. That was really good.
Yeah. And
those
was
my guys.
I know.
I did videos on all three of those dudes.
Yeah. Those actually were.
I was a big Deontay Banks guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Casey had him as his number 1 cornerback.
You
did. Hyatt, we had number 3 wide receiver.
I could easily have seen that Deontay Banks.
Yep, I liked him a lot.
He was just a mirror man out there.
Yeah, but he's not going to be nothing compared to Blackman.
Yeah,
Blackman's way better than
cornerback of the year. Yeah, look at this draft. That's pretty good. This is kind of draft that I would have been like pretty excited if we had Deontay Banks, John Michael Schmitz, and Jalen Hyatt. I would have dealt with that. I would have loved that draft.
I would have too. Jalen Hyatt, they got early 3rd, I think. Early 3rd.
Yeah.
73rd, yeah.
73rd. Yeah. That was huge value. Because that's where I was sitting. I was like, man, if we would have picked like Joey Porter with our first pick and then grabbed Hyatt later, I would have been super pumped with that. But I love Addison.
Yeah, Addison's a better player.
Addison was my guy. I think Jalen Hyatt would fit, is what we were looking for this offense. But you can't, first off, Addison can play all 3 levels. He can go deep, short, intermediate, whatever. But you can't go wrong with having another guy that's elite as a route runner. I don't think you can have enough route runners compared to having too many deep threats or anything.
Well, we saw what Diggs and Thielen could do.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
even Justin Jefferson and Thielen for a little bit there.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good about that, but I like Addison a lot. He was my number 1 wide receiver. So I'm surprised that I was surprised that a couple of those wide receivers went before him, but I was for it. How did you feel about, where were you? I forgot where you were at with Levis during this whole process, Tanishka. And
let Casey
where were you?
Tell us
where were you at when he was there at 23?
I mean, I was really interested by that because I didn't think that he was gonna fall to 23 or anywhere close to that in the first place. I honestly thought that Indy was just gonna take him at 4. So I was sad when they didn't. But I didn't
So was Rap.
I know a lot of people just hated Levis. I didn't hate Levis, but I wasn't super this needs to be the guy, trade everything for him either. Because I knew that O'Connell knew Levis's offensive coordinator there at Kentucky, and they did a lot of homework on him too. Right. So my thing was if they take him then they really think that he's going to be the guy, and I wouldn't mind them taking him. I'd still
exactly.
But I wasn't pound the table, go trade for Levis. That I was that way for Anthony Richardson, but that
yeah.
Speaking of the Colts and Anthony Richardson, the Colts had the greatest smokescreen of all, because it sounded I never really heard them attached to him much. Mm-hmm. I know it sounded like they were really in on Levis. I think they kind of put it out there that was their guy.
And that was the thing too for the Vikings, where I think that if he'd fallen past 4, he was probably getting to 10 or 11, and that's when you could consider trading up. But there was never a chance for them to get him. But I Levis. I didn't think he was gonna fall that much, and when he did, I was like, okay, there's clearly something here. So I didn't expect them to pick him, but I also like at the same time wouldn't have been completely surprised if they'd picked him. But if they had, then I'd totally be on board because they have like all the possible info on him that like anyone could have had.
Right. And that would be the biggest though. The biggest smoke of this draft was us being so enamored in Will Levis that we were willing to trade up to number 2, which was, in my opinion, the second biggest smoke was that Houston was not going to pick a quarterback. But us wanting Will Levis that bad that we'd trade to number 2 for him to drop to us at 23 and obviously passing him up and him falling out of the first round altogether, it says a lot about Levis. And honestly, I think it says a lot about his personality. If it was my guess, I think his personality made him drop a little bit in this draft.
When we took Addison and not Will Levis, I was like, we got better. And I could not have said that if we drafted Will Levis.
I would have. I was
this
like,
year. That's what I cared about. I think we got a window.
Well, it's just like Casey's point was like, if he wanted Levis there, but a lot of it is because he thought it was Kevin O'Connell's guy. So if Kevin O'Connell would have grabbed him, it'd have been like, that's his guy. Like he got exactly what he wanted to. And as soon as he didn't, it was obvious as the complete opposite. It was like, nope, we probably dodged a bullet.
Well, because I think Ben Gessling said after the fact that Stroud, Richardson, and Bryce Young were the only 3 that if they slid, they would make a move.
Yeah.
Like those are the only 3 that they saw worthwhile.
Yeah.
It's really, it really looks like that. I mean, for me, if Will Levis got drafted there, like he's got the physical tools we could do something with, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, we got better. We got better today, and I was pretty happy about that.
And that's the thing too.
We had a difference maker, man. I was like, when's the last time we got Justin Jefferson, Darisaw. But Jesus, I was looking at the draft picks we've had in the first 3 rounds of like the past 6 years. Like someone put that out in a tweet, and it's absolutely gross.
It's really bad.
How many? Well, they did it for because the guy was probably Kirk Cousins fan. He from 2018 to now, he listed, and there's the only guys that were hit were like 3 or 4 of them.
There's like one good defensive player.
Right. Yeah. All of them. All of something happened to them. You know, we got, it was a mess of draft picks. And I guess his point is everybody's complaining about Kirk Cousins. What about, the bad drafts that we've been doing, giving him nobody?
Yeah.
So
and that's why
I was pretty happy. This guy is somebody.
Here.
Yeah.
But I
He's
think
a cornerstone.
Addison, he was probably or any receiver for that matter, like out of those top 4, anyone in the first round would have improved the Vikings more this year than any corner or any defensive player could have. Like I'd said that before the draft too, but like the offense was really good last year, but I know like a lot of people just forget because the defense was so bad that the offense died a lot in like the second and third quarter of games.
Absolutely.
And that was because no one could get open or your running backs were getting 2 yards a carry.
Right.
And then, like
too many tight end screens.
Oh my God. I forgot
that's coming full swing this year.
The first half of the season, I thought we were so goddamn conservative. It wasn't until the Buffalo game. It wasn't until the Buffalo game that I thought we finally started opening it up.
Right. And a lot of it was just you couldn't open up as much on your offense because 1, you didn't have like someone that could stretch the field a lot, and 2, no one was consistently getting open other than Jefferson, and then when it's just him, they can triple him and take him away. So that's why I think the offense does have potential to be a top 5, top 3 unit this year. Definitely. And taking away those like second, third quarter, like complete no-shows is also going to help the defense.
Yeah. You make a good point that like Addison is that much better than the guy we would have playing there.
Yeah.
Than if we got Deonte Banks and put him above Evans. Right. So I think you're right in saying that, hey, it's a bigger jump, a bigger improvement. I'm all about, drafting for strength. I thought, Moss, great pick. Adrian Peterson, great pick. We didn't need those guys. But hey, I thought it was this was more of a need than in those 2 situations.
Yeah.
So I think they did the right thing. And they ended up getting some guys that are going to help us out. And who knows what Flores. The biggest draft pick we had this year was Flores. I still apologize for talking bad about you, Flores. I was misinformed.
Yeah. So I guess we can really count them. Hopefully we will finally see this happen.
Yeah.
No, I remember when you said that though, Tanishka, because you said that right on our show too, and I actually agreed with you. I said that before too, that I think picking a good wide receiver too, would help us win more games than picking a single defensive player. And it's not even just the difference of, having Addison there over like a KJ Osborne compared to Evans and Banks. There's a chance, like it takes a while for a cornerback sometimes to even see the field earlier in their career.
Yeah.
There's a chance that we pick a defensive player and we don't even see them in a starting spot, where Jordan Addison really, if he doesn't come in and kind of beat KJ Osborne for that wide receiver 2 spot, it would be somewhat of a disappointment, I think. So I mean, that's what we're kind of expecting to happen. Who knows? It might not be right away. It might take a little bit of time for that to happen. But I definitely
Connell already said it. Day one starter.
He's
got a lot of
even
expectations
said,
now.
I know.
He has the worst expectations in the league right now. Day one starter.
KJ Osborne had a rough couple months there, man. But
KJ.
no, so I 100% agree with that. I think there's no question in my mind that this helps us. We just double down on our offense pretty much, and it's our strong suit.
Yeah.
It could bite us in the ass, but one single player on defense was not going to do at pick 23 was not going to do of us enough unless we ended up getting,
Jalen
a
Carter.
huge gen.
Yeah, if we got him,
I've got like a Jalen Carter or Will Anderson or something. Yeah,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I don't know. I just noticed this.
Yeah.
I'm sure people were talking about it. I just noticed it now. I just looked at it randomly. But Randy Moss went 21, JJ went 22, and now Addison at 23.
Where did Treadwell go?
Where did Treadwell
18,
go?
right?
Was it?
Or
Was
was
that what
he?
it was?
No,
Higher
he was.
than all of them.
I don't remember.
He's not. He didn't make the sequence.
Yeah. D. Will, thanks for hopping in. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Speaking of guys,
Williamson was the highest pick.
We're giving a numbered Randy Moss card away. Everybody in here, hashtag Skol in the comments, like the video. What's going on, Yogi? And subscribe to the channels. Go check out Tanishka's on Twitter. Everything is in the description. But start with liking the video and hashtag Skol in the comments. What's up, Sarah? You're already winning everything that I got, but let's keep giving.
It's already got her name on it, Sarah.
Yeah,
the card's he already has the envelope ready.
Yeah, I do. I have like 10 pre-made envelopes to Sarah's house. She won.
This is my theory for the draft.
She won 4 cards so far.
Crazy TSE and Cousins collaborated to not extend Kirk just to make everyone think the Vikings were picking quarterback in the first round. How would that have helped them?
Collaborated to not extend Kirk Cousins just to make everything. They're just messing with us.
Crazy
Buffalo, never heard of her.
They smoked. They got us. They got us.
Listen to JD. Like the video for winning the free shit.
Hey, let's go, JD.
JD's always.
Yeah, make sure you hit like on the video, guys. Appreciate it.
Gotta get some likes in. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't know.
Well, let me add to that, like the smoke, all the smoke screens and stuff like that. And honestly, it's the media saying it. A lot of it's the media going, or in the Vikings media that's so hell bent on getting the next quarterback, and that was the content that drives the clicks and all that shit. I mean, I'm just sitting back listening to everybody going like, yeah, we're gonna get our next quarterback. We're gonna do, yeah, really? Yeah. Are we gonna go up to number 3 or number 4?
It was hard to believe.
I was like, yeah, guys, look out for an extension now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you guys don't want it, but you may be looking at one.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think for them, they've been doing their homework because Kirk is not like he's 34, 35, but they're not. But they also have the flexibility where they don't have to go get one, and like the trading up to 3 stuff is just not realistic with their capital this year. I think if someone that they like that slipped past 10, it's probably a different discussion. But that just didn't happen. But,
like they're open to it.
Yeah,
we're
doing.
The thing is, they're. And this is what it drove me nuts is when someone said they're really they're like Hooker was going to go to us, Levis was going to go to us, right? Like because they doing their homework they're spending a lot more time on these quarterbacks than they ever have in any other thing. Yeah, that could also work against those quarterbacks because they've studied them well enough not to take them. So
Yeah.
it's not. It's a work. It was a 50-50 proposition. Yes, they did their homework. They're just apparently reassured themselves not to take those two guys.
Well, especially trading all or trading all the way up to go grab.
And we could have got a
them in
Hendon
the
Hooker
draft.
in the third too if we wanted to go and got it and went and got him.
Yeah,
right?
we could have. Yeah. Did you guys see Grozzy's? I forgot what his name.
Oh,
Grozzy.
Yeah.
We all sent the Packers to the basement. I did not see his video
Me
yet.
neither. I don't
But
know.
he's always really funny, actually, even though he's a Packer fan.
I thought
but
they
yeah,
were gonna take a receiver. I thought they were gonna take a receiver. They didn't.
It'll be interesting to see what happens now next year with the quarterback thing, because man, not having unless we do something with Cousins' contract, but it definitely seems like, especially going and grab that 5th for next year. I don't know. I just feel we gotta go up next year and grab.
I was watching like a way too early mock draft that someone put together yesterday. If the Cardinals and Texans end up being the worst,
let's mock screw.
No, I'm saying like if they end up being the worst two teams in the league,
yeah, it is.
The Cardinals will have the first 2 picks in the draft. Because I can see the Cardinals being the worst team in the league.
I can too.
And they have Houston, and then if Houston sucks too, they get
their picks,
and that'd be so it'd be 1 and 2. Could you imagine that?
That'd be crazy, especially if they want to keep Kyler around. Like if Kyler has a decent year, whatever. If they keep him around, man, their trade bait is going to be insane because that next quarterback,
Williams and May are both better than anybody this year. So
yeah, so they're going to make out if that's the case.
Yeah.
Hopefully Kyler Murray does play well and they do get the first 2 picks and we can go up and we need just someone in the top 2 picks.
Just get Williams and reunite all the USC guys.
Yeah, right. I'm sure he would love to come here, man.
They want to get somebody from both sides of the ball. How does he throw the ball well, and does he not throw a lot of interceptions? How is it covering guys when he's quarterback? They just want to get all the intel. That's what it's all is.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is. That's why I said on the last show. Like, I'm sure Addison. I wonder if they asked Addison anything about Blackman at all. Like, how is it lining up against Blackman?
Well, the thing I like about it, both those guys
that can cover me.
Both those guys, besides being good football players, is that they're workers. They want to get better. They're like Blackman wanted to face him in practice, and he wanted all the smoke and went transferred to both these guys I guess transferred to that school, right? Did Blackman played somewhere else too, didn't he?
Yeah, he played at Colorado.
Yeah, and then Addison went to Pitt, right?
Yep.
So yeah, these guys wanted to go to the bigger time school and be in the bigger competition, and
yeah, that is very true. But overall,
this team will need to pray for May. Is that your guys, May? I haven't looked other than Caleb Williams. I know the quarterbacks. I haven't did a deep dive on them.
I remember I watched Drake May a little bit when watching Josh Downs highlights.
Yeah,
and I know somebody mentioned Justin Herbert as a comparison. I can see that taller frame, mobile enough, has a big arm. Like I can definitely see the comparisons there.
And it'll be interesting to see what
I really prefer a taller quarterback.
Well, because then they got there's Ewers and there's Bo Nix.
Which Ewers is just his vibe is interesting because he has a big mullet and stuff. But hey, whatever. He can play football.
I feel like Bo Nix has been in college forever. I remember him losing the 2019 Outback Bowl to the Gophers. So I feel like when he was with Auburn and stuff.
When's the last player that's going to be a COVID player? But 2 more years, it'll be the last time we'll have a COVID player.
True. Hey, Sarah, I'll get right on that. Actually, I got Addison's number on speed dial.
I'll play well this season, so he drops to us. Wouldn't that be something? Collusion.
I like that.
We drafted his players so they have the ends. Like, just suck this year, and the Vikings will draft you. We'll be good again.
Check down monster. Check down master. I don't want to check down master. Kirk Cousins isn't one, but that's like the first time we had a quarterback that isn't one, other than like Brett Favre for my whole life.
God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I already did the Bo Nix jersey swap. I don't know, man. We have to get quarterback. It makes so much sense for next year now, obviously.
He's already got Bo Nix on a Vikings jersey.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter earlier.
Who suddenly rises up out of nowhere?
Right, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
and who's not going to quarterbacks to jump for sure.
There's 100% not going to.
At least one person will just come out of nowhere. So
yeah, right. Caleb Williams should hold on. He would have to have a really bad season. I don't think so. There's some people who
Weevil,
do.
what's up?
It'd be crazy, but I mean, already having a Heisman, two really good years, it's hard to see his value dropping too much unless it was just a disaster of a season, which could happen
If he has
since
a
he doesn't
Matt
have
Barkley type
since he doesn't
season,
have Addison. Since he doesn't have
Yes.
Addison.
yeah. If he has a Matt Barkley type USC season where he comes back and just sucks,
There's no way,
hurts
man. He
himself.
just looks so good. I know there's some. I think he
He
has
lost to
to
us
do a
at like
little bit better.
25 because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or 32, where
I
we'll be
wish.
sitting. Where we'll be.
But it'll be interesting to see how that all shapes up. Like, 'cause like you guys said, there's always like the
What's
people
going
that
on,
rise and
Tuivo?
fall as the year goes. So
Yeah.
I'd play horrible so I don't end up on a shitty team.
that's also true.
See, that's the only
also true.
problem. Then you'll be like Will Levis, and then you're at the draft party and just
That's
don't get
so
picked.
bad.
That would be the worst. That was like, especially with what it sounds like his personality was. You're just like, man, this guy who's probably has the most confidence in the world, and just seeing that, I don't know, that'd be tough one.
Dante said nobody
be
came to
tough
his birthday party. Like that was like art. That was like life
Uh-huh.
imitating art.
That's what
because of
someone said
draft
in
day.
here too. I think it was Mateo. I
that
forgot.
actually
Someone said that
true?
in here.
I mean, Dante says it's true, and no
Is that
one
actually
came
a
to his birthday
thing?
party, just like the movie Draft Day.
And just like
Sky News video
who was that?
dropped.
Connor Cook for Michigan State. They said that was the same deal with him.
Damn, that's not good. Just no one shows up. So he's used to that kind of disappointment, I guess.
Oh, dang.
Damn. All right. Sorry,
Yikes.
Will Levis. You could be a star. I don't know. You have the tools. We need to leak some Caleb Williams scandals video to drop his value. Yeah.
Jordan Addison's got to have something on his phone.
It's not collusion.
Yeah.
I'm
Break out-
sure they have something. Yeah.
Break out the gas masks or whatever.
Yeah, the gas mask
The
bong.
gas mask
That's what
bongs.
Mateo said. Yep. Get this
Yeah.
guy a gas bat.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Get the Wizinator out.
Yeah.
The resonator too. We
But
can't let him get the
Do you guys
Wizinator.
remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who was that again?
It was our running back. He had the prosthetic thing that he used to.
They did that on
pass drug tests.
They did that on Blue Mountain State. I remember
Yeah,
that.
they did.
Yeah.
And they did the what's that other one on
Oil-
Blue Mountain State?
oil
The oil
changes?
change or
Oh,
whatever.
God, let's not. Okay, let's.
Oh
we don't need to
yeah.
go down
Blue
that
Mountain
rabbit
State's
hole.
a great.
Was that the ESPN one that they canceled because the NFL didn't want them to do that, or was that? Oh, that was a different.
This
TV
was like
show.
a college. Like a
ESPN started
college,
doing like regular television, like they're going to be the next MTV because they doing stuff that they doing TV shows instead of actual sports.
Yeah.
And they came out with a like a professional football TV show, and they took real stories out of the NFL and just changed the teams, changed the names, and then they can't. The NFL just says you're not going to do that no more. We don't want that shit on the air. So, but yeah, Blue Mountain State. How long ago was that?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, this was even longer.
Not super long though. I think
It was. I was in
it's
high
like-
school still.
Yeah.
It was
From
a
the
while
last-
ago because
Yeah, and then they dropped the
I think
movie.
they might.
I think 2011.
But what's his name? What's the coach's name?
Ed Marinario, coach.
Yeah, Ed
Coach
Marinario,
Daniels,
or-
yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one.
Of
He was the one
Vikings.
that drunkenly announced our pick last year.
Yeah, he was on there for like 10 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, he was like one of the main characters of that. He was their coach of the team for that show.
Yep.
But the whole show is based around like a quarterback who comes out of high school and he's supposed to be this big prospect, but he just wants to be a backup so he can party and stuff pretty much.
It's
So
a good
that's the
show.
kind of show it is.
Funny. 2010 is when it started. It's like I think it ended like 2012 or something like that. But great show. I've watched it countless times.
Are the Vikings good at edge, or are we about to have a big problem there? If we
Maybe
don't have
not.
Hunter or Smith, we're gonna have a big problem.
We have to have one of those. If we can keep some semblance of Hunter, let's say Smith goes because it feels like that's the case. If we can keep Hunter and have Marcus Davenport as well as Patrick Jones and DJ Wanham doing what he
Andre
does, like
Carter.
I think and Carter if he makes the squad, I think we'll be
I think
okay.
so.
Daniil,
I think
I mean,
so,
if Daniil Hunter stays, we're definitely fine. Like you just need
Yeah.
one premium guy, and you can fill in with Davenport. Could be good enough, especially if you coach him up right. It depends.
Flores, so he'll
If we
be
get rid of Smith and Hunter, which at this point now with the way
I
we
trust
drafted,
JD. I trust.
with the way that we drafted, I really don't feel like that's the case. I feel like
It's
they must have
fine.
something worked out with Daniil Hunter.
Yeah, there's something going on because
We're not
otherwise that
getting
would,
rid of both of them.
No,
And
especially if you didn't
honestly-
draft somebody.
Right. And honestly, there might be like a situation where both of them end up staying because they don't really need to move they don't have to move Dalvin
Right,
if
exactly,
they don't
yeah.
want to. Because
Right.
all it takes is one TJ Hawkinson restructure to clear up enough space for your rookie class. Like they don't have to do anything. I do think Dalvin will be gone just because all the other noise. But like Zadarius situation, there's a chance that he stays because like they don't have to move him just because he said that he wants more money. Like
Right.
if no one is like offering anything, like you don't have to cut him just to cut him. So I wouldn't be surprised honestly if both of them stayed.
Absolutely, I would agree.
There you go. 2003
that's
ESPN
Playmakers and ESPN
Playmakers.
Entertainment Series.
Blast
Oh,
from the
boy.
past, everybody. 2003, 20 years ago, this show
My
came out.
birthday.
Tanishka was born this day when this TV show came out, and it got canceled because the ESPN or because they had an NFL contract.
Oh,
There
wow.
you go.
Interesting. That's like what's
Check
it
it
called?
I'm gonna
Was
get
that
the-
the
I'm gonna get
Was that
the-
the Dolphins? Because even
They're called the Cougars.
oh, that's what it was. Dolphins colors. Dave
Oh,
already
with,
said the name earlier.
Willekes, Kenny Willekes.
Yeah, Kenny Willekes.
Yeah, I won the day. With that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we do have Kenny. He got injured early, right? Is that what happened with him?
Smith was his name.
Yeah, he got injured in
Antonio
camp, I
Smith.
think,
Training
or-
camp, right?
Yeah, he's been injured a
Oh,
couple
that's
years
what
in
it
a
was.
row here, but I know they said he
I
had
he's
high
getting
motor in
injured all the
college.
time too.
I
That's the
think he
thing.
got in a
Is
couple
like,
snaps and he played pretty well a couple years back. So
yeah. What is the biggest question mark on the team? Interior pass rush, in my opinion.
I would just say pass rush in general, honestly, because we don't know who's going to be here.
Well, I know. Like, if you assuming we have Hunter, like right now, you kind of just.
I would
I'm
just
not
say,
too worried
if you
about
just-
the
if-
pass
if-
rush.
If you say pass rush in general, I think that's fair. I think it covers all bases.
I want interior.
I'm
interior.
I'm
I'm assuming
definitely
Hunter's
interior
gonna be
pass
here.
rush. Even the backups, right, that came in
got
did well
nothing. We literally have
on
nothing.
the outside.
We have nothing for a pass rusher.
I think there's more to
Unless
Roy. I think there's more to Roy than meets the eye. I think
Unless
he's
I hope so.
Willekes
He's a
does.
transformer.
But he's a big guy. He's a nose tackle.
At
You
least
can't
they
really
can, like, still
expect him to be
put-
our pass rusher.
They can still put like Zadarius inside on passing downs if it really comes to that. But I think that and corner, like secondary is still a question mark. Like we know the players that are gonna be there. We just don't know who's gonna
QB,
actually like
that's
turn
fair.
out to be good enough.
Yeah.
But that's a fun question mark because the guys are there. So I'm just excited to see that like which one of them pans out.
What up, D Will? With or without Kirk, based on roster current makeup and projecting possible needs next 2 to 3 years versus the field, what's your realistic ceiling for the Vikings next 3 years? Division
Depends
winners.
on Kirk.
Division
With
winners.
or without Kirk, things change a lot. So
Yeah,
That is, and it depends. That's the thing. Like without, it depends. Like,
Without Kirk,
is it without
like-
Kirk and with Nick Mullins? Then you're gonna win
Oh.
4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
yeah.
If it's without Kirk and a rookie
I
quarterback,
think Mullins
then
could
you're
win as 8.
excitingly gonna maybe
Dude,
win
Nick,
4 to 5 games.
I don't
At least you
care.
have
I
a
could
guy
go
that
in
you're-
there with this
bringing up.
talent on offense and bring us.
I think
to
if we
the
have
division
3 games
title.
without Kirk Cousins, I think he can win us 1.
Can any
That's what I
other
think.
QB take the amount of hits that Kirk takes though? Like I don't
Absolutely
think there's a lot
not.
of
I would
them,
cry.
so-
No, but
Like-
not everybody hangs in there like Kirk either.
Yeah. I think we've been number 1 in
I'm on
hits
I'm
so
on
far.
record as saying that Kirk hangs in there to take and takes the hits
Yeah,
to
he's-
his
I mean-
detriment and to his credit.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
So-
agree with that 100%.
I don't know if Mullins is doing that or anyone else for that matter.
No, right.
What is your
Mullins
strongest
is more likely
I
to
would
take
say
more chances,
wide
I think.
receiver.
Wide
Though.
receiver, yeah. With
Wide-
Justin
And he
doesn't
Jefferson,
have a
wide
strong
receiver
arm.
would be the
Up there,
strongest
What is
position
that, Tanishka?
Tight ends up there too.
Tight end. Oh yeah,
I
tight
like
end.
Oliver a lot.
Pass catchers.
Yeah.
For sure. It's not even close. Like
Oliver
everything else,
is gonna
is
be
kinda
one of
has
our
holes.
top pickups this offseason.
I
I
think he's gonna be
guarantee
someone
it.
that
I
we're
really
gonna
think there's something there. So
Video
yeah,
coming.
we're gonna like him. There's something gonna be like, all right, he's that player that just does the dirty work and we like him because of it. type of
maybe he'll
thing.
make the tight end screens work.
Maybe,
He could
maybe
be.
you never know.
He has a decent for. I think he was like somewhat.
I think he was
fast,
pretty. I
right?
mean, he's pretty
Dude's an
athletic, yeah.
athlete.
Yeah,
Dude's
he's
an
absolutely.
athlete. He's a
Okay.
pass
Maybe
catcher
that's
in
what
college.
it was. We just needed something better for the tight end screens. So I'm expecting a lot of that again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Justin's comments right on with Kirk. Wild card divisional round without low end, 6 wins, high
Yeah.
end. It depends on his replacement. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
It all
Yeah.
kind of depends on which direction you go there. So
Be interesting. But either way, I still think we lead this division.
I would.
Yeah, I
for
think
now-
I'm
for now, yeah.
actually worried about the Lions, but the Packers, unless Jordan Love ends up being that guy, which would be the most annoying thing ever.
Yeah.
I just if Jordan Love isn't
then there is a
the
curse.
next Aaron Rodgers, yeah, there is. If he's not the next like Aaron Rodgers or like just a really high caliber quarterback, the Packers don't have that good of a team. Like we're so used to like their quarterback carrying their squads.
Yeah,
Yeah, why do I
Yeah,
feel like Jordan
really
Love is
bad.
going to end up like Jimmy Garoppolo, to where like you don't know if he's good or not, but like they build a good team around him, so they do well enough, and it's the Packers, so they always find a way to do
with him,
decent.
I mean but he has an arm. That's like his thing is he has an arm. Like he can throw. He's like Patrick Mahomes type arm. So my guess is he's going to be more inconsistent with his throws, and hopefully just cause tons of interceptions.
Don't have a good
Micaiah
team
Blackman
right now, especially offensively. Like Christian Watson would like probably not even beat out like Jordan Addison on our team. So that's their best receiver by far.
I
Yeah,
think he's pretty solid though. Like
Oh,
he
I do
came
too.
around.
yeah, but he had with Rodgers throwing to him type of thing, and him being
Yeah.
only run wide receiver.
I
I think he's going to be solid, but still not that great for their best wide receiver by far.
I would love to see Rodgers win a Super Bowl in New
Absolutely.
York.
Now that he's
That's
not in the
fine with
Packers,
me.
I don't give a shit anymore.
I don't
Like,
care.
Yeah, I don't
whatever.
give a shit. Whatever. I'm cool. Aaron
I
Rodgers.
don't want love to be good. I need
Yeah.
someone else to not be
No,
good.
we need the Packers just to suck for a while. It's time.
Yeah, we do. They deserve
It's
it.
just time.
They do. If we could go like a good like 5-6 years with the Packers just being an afterthought, I'm fine with that.
Yep. Make them. I want them to go get at least 3 quarterbacks that fail for them before they find their next good one. Because every single one of us, Bears, Vikings, and Lions, we've just been dealing with that like the entire time. We've never just had a guy that we just sat on for like 10 years. Kirk Cousins for us is the longest tenure I've seen in my lifetime.
Same.
Yeah. Honestly, though, that is kind of weird, isn't it? He's like the closest thing to
and
a
the Packers had
quarterback
2
we've seen.
The Packers had 2 quarterbacks my whole life, pretty much.
The Packers have had like 2 quarterbacks since my brother was like 5.
Dude, it's that's what I'm saying. Like it can't happen. They got to go through their shit. They got to go draft 3 first-round quarterbacks that fail. They got
what years like because there was a stretch where the Packers were the bottom of the like that was way back in the day, but
late 70s through the 80s up until Favre.
Until Favre.
Missed
that. They were god awful terrible.
Yeah, missed that.
They were god awful terrible and it was glorious.
I wish I saw that. The Lions have always just been terrible.
They were they were the Cleveland Browns. They were
Was the Bears
Detroit
the team
Lions.
to hate then? Like did you in the 80s
they were just terrible.
The Bears?
Oh, Bears.
Yeah, in the 80s.
You kind of respect
it
because Peyton was just amazing, and you just had to just respect him.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Barry Sanders, even though the Lions still suck.
You know,
I felt
85
bad. I actually
Bears,
felt bad for Barry Sanders.
And I was still young where I just liked football players. So 85, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm 12. You know, you liked football players, right? So you got the Bears and they're making the Super Bowl shuffle. You know, the fridge. You had you had Peyton. You had Jim McMahon wearing different headbands and shit. And then Johnny Be Good, the movie came out, was basically based on what Jim McMahon did a cameo in it. If you ever get a chance, have you ever seen that Johnny Be Good, the movie? Mm-hmm. It's hilarious. It's an 80s romper basically. Don't let your kids watch it, but it's pretty good.
Heck yeah.
Anybody seen that in the chat? Johnny Be Good.
Johnny Be Good.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to look
at that.
I've seen some of the other ones.
Iron Man in it.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he's the he always was the hysterical. He was always the sidekick before he became an adult.
Well, he went through his whole thing.
Once he came out of rehab, he was back into being superstar. Leading man.
Any other thoughts before we
final thoughts on just the draft in general and where we're headed from here.
Well,
I guess.
What do you guys think of before we go? Cook, is he gone June 1st? Gone June 1st, right?
Yeah, post June 1st. This point makes
I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a release either, but at this point, I do think he's gone.
Picking another running back in the draft was just like. It's
Yep,
just
the
he's
kid from Weird
more
Science,
yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think is John Michael Hall
The
maybe,
kid
or
from Weird Science.
the kid from Weird Science. He actually grew up to be kind of a stud. He was in a lot of movies. But yeah, sorry, they're still talking about John Be Good. But yeah, even Za'Darius, right? Za'Darius, Cook. I don't think they get released until then or traded till then,
It's
right?
June 1st.
Because we get more money back off the cap. Cook's got to be gone at this point. Za'Darius, there's a sliver of hope just because what else you gonna do?
Well, that's the thing. Like,
no
I
one's
feel like
talked about it since that whole thing, him wanting to leave happened.
Yeah, nothing's happened since then.
The bridge with Delvin is burned at this point. Because, like, let's be honest. Because, like, Za'Darius signed his contract, whatever. It's not what he wanted. Now it's like, I need more money. Cool. Daniel Hunter, I need more money.
That.
Whatever. Delvin Cook's the only one that we're like, hey, would you be okay with taking less money?
And he's like, no.
So I think just that I think the bridge is just burned
gone out and
point.
said so much to like the media and like in the interviews that he's done, where it just doesn't seem like it's realistic to see Dalvin Cook back. And
then re-signing Madison.
Yeah,
and then grabbing, like I said, we're grabbing a running back in the
free
running
back room is already such a
CJ
question
Ham's
because
taking his snaps.
There's like players that like might just not be like, we don't even know if Kene is going to make the roster next year. So it's like, and this is without Dalvin Cook, because there's already like 4 or 5 guys that this regime has shown that they want. So
yeah, absolutely.
What do you guys think of Kwesi as a GM so far?
I think it's still a little too early to tell. You can tell his drafting style.
Free agency impressed me.
Very
free agency I've liked so far. Draft is definitely up in the air. This is gonna be a good year to find out, because obviously we didn't get pretty much anything out of last year's draft.
Right.
But with the fact that he ignored the Will Levis fans and didn't draft him and got Addison instead.
With what he's done but then you look at the team perspective, like what he's done from like culture standpoint, as well as hiring the coach, as well as like just like what he's done to the roster, just how the team feels. I think he's done a really good job.
That part's good. Yeah. The morale in that morale and Kevin O'Connell.
I think
Kevin O'Connell, that was an A+.
So Kirk, I think, was interviewed like last year, and they asked him about that, like the culture in the locker room. He said it was there. Like
they're not ranking number 1 with the old regime when the NFLPA like poll.
Like like the adult, like the players were like, on board, like they were a tight knit group. Zimmer was not just, he was, they were tight, not because of Zimmer's, input, but because of they were just good guys.
And this is true too. He's still trying to clean, like, he was left with a little bit of a salary cap and pick mess here. So I think this is definitely a great point.
He's handled it pretty good. I don't necessarily like the fact that he dumped a more, salary into the future off of like, I think 2 or 3 players he did that with. But hey, it's going to go up. We're going to have more room to deal with. It definitely helped us out this year.
Yeah.
He did so much, got so many free agents. I didn't even think we were going to come close to that type of, haul in the offseason. Do we even have we got to be negative in money right now, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, how is that? I don't know.
Are we?
I think we're doing all right.
And even like Davenport, he was ranked like 6th as the top free agents available. Davenport was like number 6. Have we ever done that? Oh, besides Kirk, I guess. He was ranked pretty high as far as free agents, but since then, I don't remember getting like a Tomlinson, maybe.
Darius
was
Peterson was still like he was in the mid hunt,
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't know why. Dave, you mentioned Delvin Tomlinson.
What's going on, Skol
TY? I feel like you did. I feel like
now, yeah.
I remember I saw I think NFL.com and CBS both had Jaquelin Roy's pro comp as Delvin Tomlinson. If he can become Delvin Tomlinson with a little more pass rush, I'd be awesome.
But that's the thing is we with Delvin Tomlinson, our defensive line was like our worst part of our defense. You could say arguably the cornerbacks, but the corners had to cover the guys for so long because we couldn't get to we couldn't put any pressure on the quarterback.
So our outside rush could not get to the quarterback because all he had to do was step up.
Yeah,
and they ran right by, and they couldn't get to him.
And that was
because he could step in the pocket every single time. There was no no rush.
That's
up
why
the
I'm worried. That's like my
middle.
one spot I'm definitely worried with.
Roy's
And as
definitely
I've said,
hard to
I've been worried
move.
about that since the season ended.
Right.
Yeah, and it got a little bit better it definitely got better with Roy, but he's still a rookie. Who knows
Right,
how good he'll
exactly.
actually be coming in. Hopefully, if we can see
At
pull
worst,
something
I
out of
think
him,
he's a
that's
good runs defender.
yeah, he's just a
At
big
worst,
dude,
and he's
right?
hard to
Mhm.
move. And I think he's very disciplined as far as staying in his lanes. But
Yeah,
as far as a pass rush, I
he
think
doesn't.
even
He
the
has a
guy
couple
from
sacks.
Wisconsin is better than him in that.
I would have been happy if we still would have been able to get a Jamo at some point in the 7th round or something like
Yeah,
that.
but
Right.
that's another thing. Speaking of like last thing I'll say on the draft is it's funny watching the aftermath and even during the draft, you got Twitter people that are like, we should have done this. Why did you take this guy? He was still there.
Yeah,
My
we don't
mock
even
draft said
know.
this guy should have gone here. It's like, but at this like this this guy on NFL.com, his draft board said this guy was down here. It's like at the end of the day, none of that matters, and that's why the draft is so fun. You do these mock
Right.
drafts and it never works
Yeah.
out.
There's a huge disconnect.
Because like,
massive.
coaches, GMs, they all have different feelings on players. It comes like even people like, oh, this
Especially
guy's good
later
too,
in
and
the
then someone else be
draft.
like, I think the guy's an asshole. I don't like him. Like it's everybody just has different
Right.
like, and that's the thing. Like I hate, and we all do it. We all look at the guys. Well, I like this guy. He played really well. But what if Flores like
Right.
that guy doesn't fit what I want to do on defense? I'm not going to take him.
There's an awesome video about the GM for the Indianapolis Colts taking a guy, and they interviewed him. And he says, "Well, Mel Kiper said you wouldn't know who the hell is Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper has something to say about every damn pick, but who the hell?" And he did that live on air on ESPN. Then they play it every year. This GM, and the guy got fired. That guy didn't last very long. Indy was terrible.
Yeah, we could actually ask Mateo his thoughts because he's an LSU guy.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Roy is stronger than Tomlinson. Here's the thing: LSU went through multiple DCs. Or after 2019, LSU had 3 different DCs, and that's why Roy and Ward dropped. In 2022, Roy was expected to be a top 20.
He
Yeah, I
was
thought-
like
like,
top
number
8
6.
in like a
Yeah, number
PFF
6.
mock from
Yep.
like this last summer.
Dante
Exactly.
Dante said that he had like a down year, and like earlier in his career he was like a highly touted first round type of talent.
Yeah. So I mean, there's and that's why I said like this is a guy that I'm keeping my eye on because I think he'll be a guy we're talking about being a steal of this draft.
And Daniel Hunter is gonna put his arm around him. What's up, man? Let's go.
LSU. What we have in common, people, female spelled names pronounced in a male way that nobody can pronounce.
True.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Jacqueline and Danielle.
Yep.
the most fearsome pass rush in the league.
They're about to be. No, that's interesting. I'm glad Mateo says that, especially someone that actually watches LSU, because I don't. Like, we looked at Roy actually before this draft. I didn't look at Ward. Like, I didn't really even look at safeties that much because I was like, I don't think we really need a safety.
Get a Lions fan here.
But it is good to see
Oh,
people
wow.
who actually watch that team.
Everyone crapped on the Lions draft until the whole draft played out. Brad Mahomes playing 3D chess. Hey, we complimented the Lions,
Hammer. What up,
saying that you guys saved your draft.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say
But you could have done a lot better.
Yeah, you saved it from not being bad, but that doesn't mean it was that good.
And this is the Vikings got their secondary coach now
The LSU
from LSU who brought this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point as
Ronte
well.
Jones.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
go, Mateo. Let's go. Dropping these
That's why we got.
inside
That's
scoop.
why we got you in the chat, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely, the inside scoop.
Thank you, brother. Let's go. Everyone crapped on. Yeah, I don't know. They picked a running back with the 12th pick and had a chance at Jalen Carter. I'm sorry,
second
but you're
running back.
never gonna be able to.
Not the
get
one
that
number one
down.
running back. The
second
second
running back. A guy that up until literally like 2 days before the draft, people had going in the second round. Then all of a sudden, it started coming out that he could go in the first.
And he's not even like considered to be like a bell cow back. Like he's not like
He's more of a pass catcher than a running back in
right.
itself.
Like
Yeah.
He's going to be what they wanted DeAndre Swift to be if he can stay healthy. Honestly,
Yeah, that kind of that's a good point.
Yeah, he's basically a replacement for Swift. So yeah.
But that's what me and Casey have been talking about, is because they picked Bo in the last round, and he's an absolute bowling ball. Like he's probably
not even picked him. They picked him up in undrafted free agency.
Oh, that's what it was.
Abraham.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
who got
could be
Abraham?
The Lions.
The Lions did.
That could be a huge 1-2.
All right.
If that
I'm
works
telling
out,
you,
that
down
could be
the road,
a massive
without...
1-2 punch.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that getting a running back that early in the first round is worth it, but it really could be a dangerous duo.
Yeah,
Speaking
absolutely.
of Swift, how about the freaking Eagles, man?
Yeah.
Like everybody
they're
falls to
killing
them,
it.
and then
Dude, they're not
Swift
even
goes to the
giving them.
Eagles.
They're not
Did you
even
guys-
getting that good
fair
of
anymore.
draft grades, and I'm just like,
Did you guys see
like
the-
you get
did you
Jalen
guys-
Carter somehow, at
And
pick
Nolan Smith
9,
is a really good player. Like I
Yeah.
think he's going to be very good.
and they got
Did
him
you guys
towards the
see
end of the
the-
first round.
The rumors out there that like all the other like a lot of other NFL executives are just getting annoyed with how much hype Howie Roseman's getting.
I don't
Kinda
blame
funny.
them. Howie's been cooking since missing
Dude.
out on Jefferson. Like
3
Yeah.
Georgia
the last
players.
2 or 3 years have been
Keely
incredible.
Ringo in the 4th.
See, they got
Yeah,
lucky. that they
Ringo in
got
the
their-
4th.
See,
They
I
got
worry
Eli
about-
Ricks undrafted, Ojamo in the 7th.
See, I worry about the Lions being
Well,
kind of
John, I
like them
remember
in
that.
a way, to where they drafted their quarterback in the 2nd round and he works out. Because that's really where the Eagles
That's where
got
it
lucky. Is that Jalen Hurts worked?
Yeah,
Everybody's
don't-
still forgetting that they passed on Justin Jefferson.
yeah. That's all I remember.
Ever since that
That's all I
move, though,
remember.
Howie has not made like a bad move,
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. He's
and it's been like 3 years. It's insane.
and I
Yeah,
mean he
this
missed
is-
on that. So then last year he
But
just
they
goes
still
and
have
gets
AJ Brown and Devontae Smith at the end
right?
of the day.
Which they
so
went
it's
and
like,
just got AJ
whatever.
Brown. They went
Yeah.
and just went and got AJ Brown. Like that was such a
And
good
Devontae
move for
Smith is
them.
a stud. He's a
Yeah.
number 1 on a lot of teams.
Yeah,
Right.
speaking of that, so anybody that says that Jordan Addison is too small, any of that stuff, he is literally the same exact size as Devontae Smith and might even have longer arms. So
Rick
wanna hear
Spielman
that.
said Rick Spielman compared him to Devontae Smith.
they're like the same,
He's
6
like a
foot
mix
and
of Smith and
173.
Calvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Eagles got your favorite
with
player, guys.
better hands,
Tanner
better
McGee.
and better speed. He is faster
Tanner
than
McGee.
Devontae Smith too.
McGee.
So Jordan Addison's wide receiver 1B.
Yeah, I can see
The
it.
conclusion to
sure.
the thumbnail, and he's gonna, yeah, because I think that's what I have on the thumbnails
Yep. I believe
about
you
Jordan
on that.
Addison
Yep.
and what the future is gonna hold with him. But
Mhm.
I don't know. It could be really exciting. I'd be very disappointed if it does if it doesn't work out because I've
It
said
will.
I've said a lot of good things about him.
Yeah.
But well,
going
you think
to.
we should run the old giveaway?
Yeah, let's do it. So once again, everybody,
Yeah,
Randy
let's give
Moss
Sarah a card.
numbered card. Hashtag Skol in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channels. Go check out Tanishka on Twitter. Everything's in the description. I'm going to run this in just a couple minutes here.
What is insider scoop?
Uh-oh.
He got into fights with teammates at LSU and then left LSU because he wasn't given the number 7. Okay. So
Yeah.
bad locker room, guys. See, we don't miss
Yeah,
out.
I agree. Eagles suck.
Well, maybe that's why he's undrafted.
Yeah,
Could
well-
be. Just like Will Levis took the slide because of his attitude.
Yeah.
but
Not that big of a
I
slide.
wonder if that's what the pace. Maybe pace is just too much for these other weak teams. Because he comes. I love his comments already. Like I'm gonna run through faces.
Dante
Everyone's
last
gonna
night
regret their.
said that he was lazy, and I'm like, and Rap was like texting me going, and he says, "Here's the trophy of him at the Senior Bowl, winning the Senior Bowl MVP, defensive MVP." I'm like, that doesn't sound lazy to me.
Mhm.
But
I
yeah,
don't know, we'll
so
see. We
Rap
got
is big on-
Lewis
Rap-
Seen won
Rap is big
the
on him.
national championship defensive player of the game. If he doesn't like him either,
Yeah, Lewis Seen, he didn't like him either,
Oh,
right?
right.
I think that's more. I think Sarah's comments more it because he's a little too small. Which like him and Oswald might overlap.
Well, and
a
he's
little
a
bit,
one-trick pony. He's like not one trick,
Sure
but
that's
he's
go QI.
he blitzes. He can definitely defend the run, but can he defend the pass? Can he
Yeah.
get in the coverage? And apparently, Dante said in practice, just average running backs were making him look silly in pass routes. So who knows? We'll see.
We'll see. I think there's
Worth
there's
it
a lot
in free
more.
agency.
There's a lot more than just the Senior Bowl, obviously.
And we gave
I
him
don't-
what, $250,000? We gave him like the big one, the big
Yeah.
contract.
Getting him and Carter was an absolute no-brainer. They gave Carter the most money in undrafted free agent history, I think.
Something like that.
Something
At least
like
this
that.
year, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the issue. That's what a lot of people see too. A good pass rusher, but really,
Michael Sam.
yeah, good pass rusher, but that's kind of all he's got going for him.
Yeah.
No, not the other
he
stuff.
he had a 70 PFF coverage grade.
Michael Sam never played it down in the NFL, I don't think.
Sweet card.
All right, I'm running this. Congratulations, Sarah. Sweet
Do it.
card.
Do it.
If
No,
it
I'm
is,
not.
Do it, Jamie. Do it.
Okay, I'll do it.
There
All
we
right,
go.
what do we got? Who is it? We got
oh,
Sarah. Sarah.
Oh my Jesus.
God.
This is so rigged.
Dude,
This
I
is
do
so
not rig
rigged.
this.
This is so rigged.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my
That's
god.
crazy. You know what?
That
What
is-
are the odds?
We're giving away another card.
That is
We're gonna
nuts.
give away one more card.
That is nuts.
Watch it be
She's just
Sarah
gonna win again.
Yeah.
How
All
does that-
right. I'm gonna let if Sarah wins, I'm giving it to her again just because.
How does that keep happening?
Everybody, that's amazing. Rigged.
Dude, she's got
Seriously?
Sarah's like the
I
Eagles.
love
Just
this.
can't miss.
I love this. Kid.
Wins all over the place.
All right, we're running another Justin Jefferson rookie card. Let's go.
That's insane.
Let's
Oh,
go.
God, that
Come
is
on.
funny.
I don't even know
That
if
is-
oh, yep,
It's time
Sarah's
she
still
won,
in
right?
there. Sarah's still in there.
That is funny.
It's the fourth time she's won on this show.
Oh my god, dude.
Jesus.
What is happening here?
All right.
Oh.
That is actually crazy.
This is ridiculous. Jamie, are you
I'm not
rigging this?
giving any more.
Dude,
Sarah,
is
you
your
get two
foot on the
cards.
pedal?
I'm gonna do it again because I want to just see.
I want to see
I'm
3 in a row.
serious.
Is
This
this 3 in a
is
row?
ridiculous.
It's completely
It's gotta be rigged
put.
if it is.
If it's 3 in a row, this is shot. Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Oh,
somebody.
Walk
There.
away,
Oh, I'm
walk.
sorry to
Like,
bust your balls here.
That's
but-
dude.
Sorry,
that's
Sarah. You didn't
just-
win 3 times in a row.
Oh, that is something else.
Yeah,
Are these just like
evil.
fake ones?
Sorry, these ones
No?
are fake. These ones are fake ones. I
These
just
two
wanted to
don't count.
see.
Yeah.
Sarah's the big
They're
winner
on the-
tonight.
Wow.
When it
Don't sound disappointed. That's
When it's counts,
No, I
Sarah
mean,
wins.
that's kind of ridiculous.
She didn't win these other 2 because they
Two
didn't count.
times. Jeez.
Sarah's a gamer.
She is. I mean, when you win in bunches, man.
That's true.
Absolutely. Nuts.
When
You win in
there's
bunches.
when there's less than a 5% chance of winning, Sarah steps up. Or no, actually about 6% chance of winning.
Did she see her
steps
second?
up.
Y'all system's rigged. Okay, it's rigged. I don't know if she's seen the second.
Yeah,
one.
she
Oh,
did.
she did.
This is her right here. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's so
ridiculous.
crazy.
That's
That's
funny.
so
Yes.
crazy.
It's too funny. But all right. Well, I think that'll, with all that excitement, that'll do it for the night. Tanishka, thank you for joining us again. It was fun talking some NFL draft.
Don't
And now
put
I know we got, don't hate the prayer.
Let's go.
I know we
Sarah.
got the schedule
real.
release and then the rookie camp and stuff, but after that we do kind of hit the slow grind. But we'll still find some stuff to talk about. So anyway, everybody, thanks for hopping in. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week.
Skol Vikes.
Let's go.